Just a few years ago, the moon would go around the entire Earth more often than I would crack a joke. But one day, I was hanging out with this really funny friend, and just by nature of the type of conversations we were having, I ended up being pretty funny. And this friend literally said to me, like, I kid you not, Ivor, you're actually like a pretty funny guy, like your humor is underrated. Humor comes from the skill of being funny, which most people already have enough of, confidence, and actually trying to be funny. And those two last ones are the limiting thing for most people, including me. And there is a 2-minute habit which I do before every time I socialize, which massively improves your confidence and your focus on being funny. So you don't have to change your personality. You don't have to do some like deep internal work to become more confident. You can literally start being more funny starting tomorrow. And if this sounds exaggerated, if it sounds just like I'm lying, just making this up, being some fake guru, well, look, first of all, you can just try this in 2 minutes, so why not? But also, like, you're literally changing the way you think about humor and think about conversations. So of course, it's going to be pretty effective. So what this habit involves is just on your way to go socialize, you just tell yourself, today, whatever your name is, you are a jester. You're not going there just to aimlessly socialize. Today you are going there with the explicit purpose to make other people have fun. Once you've done that, I want you to visualize the consequences of what will happen if you do that. Imagine all the other people having fun. Imagine them coming up to you and hanging out with you because you're a fun person to be around. Imagine that you make a habit of being this more funny person. Now you're going to be way more charismatic. You're going to be the type of person who you want to be, which is a funny person. And that's it. That's the entire habit. And what this does, why this is so effective, is thinking about this, like it's explicitly stating an objective, gives you a purpose for that social interaction. You're not just going there aimlessly now, which makes it just I'll go into why it makes it worse. And then the visualization is increasing the importance of that purpose. Consequences, imagining consequences increases the importance. So what you now have is a really strong purpose, which gives you focus. So now when you go and socialize, you're going to remember to focus on being funny because it's so important to you. You've got such a strong focus. It's not just, I'm just hanging out here. I should try to be a bit more funny. It's not. You've got a explicitly strong focus, something that you're actually working on, that like you actually care about doing. This focus is going to help you focus more on being funny. This is the biggest thing that funny people do. They just actually try to be funny. They just focus on it. As well, they're actually confident to say the jokes and say the funny stuff and just be a bit silly sometimes. Take control of the conversation in a way. And to get that confidence, you can just like do the inner work to be like, well, hold on, why am I afraid to say this stuff? All that like internal work and just like being confident in yourself, that's very effective. But you know what else is effective? Just not focusing on that. You see, if you have something to focus on, try to make other people laugh and try to be a really fun person, well, now you're focusing less on yourself and how you're being judged because you're focused on doing this task instead. And on top of that, any anxiety that does come up, any reasons of like, no, I can't say that, you've now got a counter reason to say it because, you've got this purpose of trying to be fun. And I do just want to clear up, being funny is not just coming up with jokes. It's just being a bit silly. It's doing fun stuff because being fun is just as important as being funny. They're different. As well as this, sometimes it's just appreciating the humor that other people are coming up with. If people say like a kind of half-assed joke, or they say something that's not really meant to be a joke, but it could be funny, you can like laugh at that, you can make that into a joke. You don't need to be that guy who just always takes stuff way too seriously like I used to be. And if you're worried about now just like trying to be more funny and it goes badly, people are just like, oh, that guy, and they cringe. Well, cringe only happens if you're trying too hard to be funny. If it's obviously like you're trying to impress people. If you take it really lightly and if other people don't laugh at you, then you laugh at yourself, it's going to be fine. Like you're going to come across as, it's just going to be so chill. And the reason you'll have that like lightness about it and you won't really care is because you have that purpose of trying to make it fun for other people. You're not doing this for yourself, you're doing it for other people. And so if they don't laugh, there's no need to get down about that because that's just going to bring down the vibe for the other people. You just keep on trying, Okay, so actionable steps. Write like on your hands, like an F or something that's so that you actually remember to focus on this as you're socializing. And before, do that 2-minute routine where you visualize the consequences so that you hype up that importance. And then you can also afterwards, you can have a think about like, did I do this as well as I wanted to? And if not, like, how can I fix it? Because like straight away, you're probably not going to do this very effectively. Like maybe you're just going to forget because you're in the habit of like just not being funny. Maybe you're going to have some issues with your confidence, which will stop you being funny. And you don't need to necessarily watch another YouTube video to fix that stuff. You can just think about it yourself and you'll probably come to some pretty good solutions. At the end of the day, it's just a choice. Do you want to be a mortician? Do you want to be a jester? You know, it's just a choice that we make every second of every day. And if it's, you know, you can be a mortician if you want, but just remember that you can choose to be more of a jester. So I hope that helped. Subscribe and have an amazing day.